The July 7th, 2026 meeting of the Sugarland Development Corporation is called to order. Madam Assistant City Clerk, do we have anybody signed up to speak? Okay, thank you very much. Number 4, minutes. Consideration of and action on the approval of the minutes of the July 2nd or June 2nd, 2026 meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
A motion by regular person Carol. Second by Suzanne. All in favor, say aye. Again. Thank you very much. Item number 5, contracts and agreements. A, economic development performance agreement with Deliberate Outsourcing and Solutions LLC and Deliberate Outsourcing and Solutions 7 Inc. Consideration of an action on authorizing an economic development performance agreement with Deliberate Outsourcing and Solutions LLC and Deliberate Outsourcing and Solutions 7 Inc. in the amount of $1,300,000 and reimbursement of permitting fees in an amount not to exceed $140,085. Jennifer Alexander, Business Development Manager. Jennifer.
Afternoon. Today we'll be presenting an expansion project for your consideration. This involves the expansion of Deliberate Sugarland operations, and I am joined today by CEO of Deliberate, Dr. Ihab, in the back. Right. So just quick on the project, I just wanted to note that it has been reviewed previously by the EDC on May 13th and June 8th. It has also been reviewed by City Council in executive session on May 19th and June 16th. And today we are considering the approval of the performance agreement. I did want to note that Deliberate Outsourcing and Solutions represents the business operations, and then Deliberate Outsourcing and Solutions 7 that represents the landlord and property owner. So both are two separate entities, so both have to be named in the agreement. Background on the company was founded in 2010. They have been here in Sugarland for over 15 years. They have over 61 employees. Again, this is a Sugarland-based pharmacy. They also do infusions. They provide retail pharmacy, specialty pharmacy, compounding, infusion services for the greater Houston region. They also have partnerships with hospitals and physicians as well in this Houston region. They are expanding operations through the development of an FDA-registered 503B facility. This is for sterile pharmaceutical manufacturing facility. So this facility is a special federal designation. This allows the company to make medications in bulk and not just a one-time prescription. Project highlights. Deliberate is making a significant capital investment here of $11.85 million. This is demonstrating a strong long-term commitment here in Sugarland. The facility will be a 60,000 square foot, good manufacturing compliant pharmaceutical manufacturing facility. This means the GMP standard. It means that it's done safely and consistently. The new jobs here is 55 newly created jobs at an average annual salary of $61,240. In year 1, that will be 16 jobs. And I did want to note that per our standard, $61,240 is what we abide by in our compliance and our incentives. The industry standard, however, for Sugarland and Fort Bend County for these preparation manufacturing jobs is $48,000. So that is that's great that they are able to hit that $61,240. So again, this expansion for Deliberate is for the pharmaceutical manufacturing. They would be constructing the FDA registered 503B outsourcing facility. They'd be installing the ISO certified clean rooms and sterile manufacturing suites. This is a highly controlled environment. This ensures quality, consistency, and regulatory compliance. The production, again, would be for the use of sterile injectable medications for healthcare providers. And I do want to note that Sugarland was competing with other jurisdictions for this project. The anticipated completion is anywhere from 15 to 18 months. And then, of course, there will be 18 months on FDA inspections and ongoing oversights. For the performance agreement, the agreement is structured as a 10-year agreement to ensure, again, the long-term commitment here. The direct incentive we are recommending is a $1.3 million incentive paid over 10 fiscal years. This, again, is a performance-based, so it is earned by meeting the performance obligations in the agreement. $300,000 would be our initial payment, with the remaining payments distributed evenly. The payment structure provides for additional support at the beginning of the project for the initial startup. We are also asking that the permit fees be reimbursed in a not to exceed amount of $140,085. and this would be reimbursed upon receipt of certificate of occupancy. So the company would have to comply with paying those fees, and then we would go back through the 4A to reimburse them. The obligations: construct a 60,000 square foot industrial building in the business park, create those 55 jobs at that average annual salary of $61,240, and spend that capital investment of $11.85 million. So the agreement does provide for clawbacks for default, and they would result in reduction in payment should there be an issue, and that would only apply to the direct incentive and not to the permit reimbursement. So again, the permit reimbursement, that would mean the building is built and their certificate of occupancy has already been provided. I do want to note that the $300,000 in initial and the reimbursement fees is a substantial amount at the beginning, but when you're building a facility of this nature, there is a lot of FDA approvals, compliance, a lot of upfront costs, and so this will help offset that. At the beginning of these types of projects, they're not making a lot of revenue upfront. They have to make sure the buildings are ready to go and they're in compliance. So that is why we are recommending those upfront payments. You have a payment schedule here that shows that initial payment of $300,000 and then split evenly throughout. You will see that in the first payment of $300,000, that would be upon spending that $11.85 million and then creating 16 jobs. They would have to create the jobs and maintain the jobs. And if all of that works out, then that payment would be sent out by August 31st. You do have a project pipeline in front of you. It does show that there is capacity for this project. You will see it noted here in red. And with that, we are recommending approval. So this has been reviewed by the Economic Development Committee and an executive session. We recommend approval here, and if approved and subject to deliberate meeting all terms of the 10-year performance agreement, an initial payment of $300,000 will be issued by August 31st, 2028. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions? Sanjay?
Okay, so first I would like to thank you for expanding in our city. Thank you very much and look forward to your success.
Thank you so much. Likewise.
Yeah, one question I have is, in addition to the jobs and the capital improvement, do we also benefit from sales tax, increase in sales tax?
There isn't going to be a lot of sales tax specifically to the project, but then you have to understand we're bringing in new jobs. Those people are going to be working here. They're going to be eating here and spending money here as well. But we wouldn't be getting any sales tax on the actual medications that are being sent out.
Okay.
So on top of the sales tax, remember right now it's greenfield land. And so once you build a property on there, the property tax is also going to go up.
Follow-up question? Yeah, I saw that 140 is not in the pipeline. So is it going to be paid separately?
So this is typically just for our projects, but yes, so the 140 would come out of the incentive line and that number would drop to about 580,000. Yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, Suzanne.
Again, thank you for being here. Did you find out what Project Cactus really looks like? We're so glad that you're investing in our city. So thank you so much. We're glad that you live here too. You live here?
I mean, I live in Greenwood. My kids go to school. Been here since 2000, and I mean, I love the community. I love the whole environment. It's really safe. And the taxes are low. Keep it that way, please. And it's not a lot of professionals. So this is, I mean, part of the discussion was, if you want to hire, our business is a niche business. We manufacture sterile medication, pharmaceuticals for hospitals. So if you go to a hospital anywhere in Houston in the future or anywhere in Texas, you're gonna find made in Sugarland. And that is something that to bring pride. And at the same time, the area here has a lot of good talents we can hire from and make it a win-win relationship. I really love that there is also some funds available to do training for our technicians with the colleges in the neighborhood around here. I think Wharton was one of the options that will help us also to upgrade the skills and make sure this is the future. Still on manufacturing. It's a clean industry. There is no pollution, and it's the next edge for building sustainable jobs. We are licensed in the United States. By the time this phase 1 ends, we may come back and expand. So Jennifer promised me that she's gonna do more land, have more expansions, because the idea is to go from 14,000 to 14 million to 25 million and to hit 50 million in the next couple of years. It's a huge project, and I'm very happy that we're gonna do it here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Especially since you live in Greatwood.
Yeah, there's still time to move up to District 3. Talk about that later.
I'll take a note. Thank you so much.
Are you done with your question?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I am so grateful that you spoke up and told us more about yourself and your business, and we look forward to you expanding for sure. So thank you. My question, Jennifer, first of all, congratulations. You did a great job. I know this was your baby. So my question is just on the front load. I know that we don't normally do a front load, and I appreciate that this is an investment. It's not really a front load, it's an investment to help the company get going. Do the clawbacks look different on the front end, any different from the back end because of the front load?
Shay, if I could divert you, right, so standard clawbacks, they'd have to meet those same obligations. There's a reduction in payment should something not be met. But again, it would be that 11.85 million and then the 16 jobs that they would have to have.
Okay, follow.
Sure.
I was just wondering if we relaxed them because the front end had so much more investment.
Not to protect our investments and our funds.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Rob, you back there?
Yeah, Stuart, I'll ask a few questions if you let
Sure.
permit. Hey, have we seen the actual agreement in full? I haven't seen it on the agenda posting.
It was, yes, it was attached to the item.
Okay. I'll try and find it then before I ask more questions. One of the questions I wanted to ask the owner is obviously there's options to go to other parts other than Sugarland. What drove the final selection to build in Sugarland? I understand you guys own the property beforehand, but you know, if you want to cover that topic.
I mean, honestly, it was I live in Greatwood. As I said, I have two of my kids go to the schools here, and I was kind of torn between doing the project here or going to a different state. Connecting with Jennifer, it was by coincidence. She really is worth her weight in gold. She basically answered our questions and had a lot of follow-up. And she can text you, she can call you, she can in a minute drop and see you in the company doors. She's ready to make that happen. She showed us a lot of benefits and she talked about a lot of solution that available. And I really felt that, you know, I've lived here for so many years, and I felt that with the package that you guys gave us and having a very good community where we invite people from different states to relocate, where we need good, high caliber, educated people to help us in this niche business. It'll be easier, it'll be faster. Hey, come in and relocate to Sugarland. It'll be easier to come and say, hey, come into a different state. It was, I mean, the future for Sugarland also. You guys are doing a lot of things that makes you proud to be part of the community, a citizen in this place. The parks, the initiatives, the interaction, but the people. You guys have a lot of amazing people living in Sugarland, and I feel what Jennifer did on behalf of you guys, she really swayed us, and she really went question by question and meeting by meeting to make sure that we stay in Sugarland, and we end up making that decision. And I'm excited. This is gonna be a lot of benefit for the community, a lot of good jobs, and the future is gonna be solid with clean life science projects. I mean, you cannot ask for something better than that. And I'm excited to be part of it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, Jennifer, and your team. Thank you guys.
Rob, good, or do you have anything else?
Yeah, thank you. It's always great to hear someone else talk great things about Sugarland. Question for our team. Do we have an idea of what once the final building is developed, what the potential tax roll would be for property taxes?
Yes, so the property taxes would probably be around 150,000 annually if we are going off of just strictly the 11.8. But again, that is, I think, a little bit conservative on the investment. And so we can provide more information on that, but that is what we learned in our analysis.
Okay. So the main focus is there will be a payback return for the city at some point, is the main takeaway.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Rob, did you want to make a motion as long as you're on?
Sure, motion to approve.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, second by Sanjay. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Any
Aye.
against? Okay, passes 7-0.
Well done, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. And by the way, I don't care how much he offers you. You're staying.
I think there's a bonus.
All right. Item number 6, workshop. Fiscal year 2027 budget workshop, review of and discussion on the proposed budget for Sugarland Development Corporation for fiscal year 2027. We have Justin Mejorado, Assistant Director of Budget. Take it away.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be back and excited. A little bit in shock, honestly, to already be back talking about the next year's budget. Feel like we just got the last one done. Excited to talk to you about it. Jump right into it. So part of the objectives for today is just to kind of discuss the fiscal year 26 year position, as well as where the fund is financially. We're going to cover briefly an update to the sales tax financial policy. Then we'll jump into that proposed fiscal year 27 budget. And at the end, I'll open it up for questions and give any feedback and direction on that proposed budget. So I'd like to start, before we get into that proposed budget, looking at that current financial position, primarily as it relates to sales tax performance. Through year-to-date collection, sales tax has continued to perform very well. It's exceeded our original budget expectations so far each month. Based on these collections, staff's estimating that we'll end the year at 10.3 million. That's about 8% or 800,000 over that original budget amount. This continued strength in our sales tax collections is one of the primary reasons you'll see this fund to continue to have a strong financial position, which we'll look at into some more detail on the next slide.
Justin?
Yes.
So are we using the same new methodology that council is using for the general account for the sales tax?
Yes, sir. So we follow the one policy and then we divide it up amongst the three primary funds.
Okay, thank you.
So looking at those year-end projections and building on the strong sales tax performance, this table here is kind of going to cover and summarize our year-end position as it compares to the budget that you had last year. We'll start off with the beginning fund balance. You'll see that we're going into fiscal year 26 with about 3.6 million more than we initially estimated. That's a result primarily due to expenditure savings last year. And then for revenues, we're looking at approximately 660,000 more in revenues. That takes the increase in sales tax as well as a minor decrease in the interest income, primarily as we draw down that fund balance each year and looking at how the interest rates on the various investment vehicles have changed. So that is going to put us roughly at bring our operating deficit from 6 million at budget to 5.3. So again, I know 660,000, which is our ending fund balance of 22.5 or 4.2 higher than what we budgeted. And that'll push that fund balance over the policy requirement, which is based on 15% of the sales tax budget to just over $21 million. With those sales tax projections, we're looking at covering our next year debt service 3.8 times, which is our ratio here at the bottom. Yes, ma'am.
When you look at the projections, are they through the end of the fiscal year, I suppose? So are we looking at anything exponential for FIFA, or is it just average?
So right now, this does not have captured those collections yet. Since the watch parties and the games are occurring in June and July, we'll see that in August and September, which right now we're just estimating the budget. So it's very much likely we're going to see those remaining months for the year coming in even higher.
So those numbers are not included in here, should they be over what we may see? Okay.
All right. So that kind of segues right into what we just highlighted. Sales tax collections continues to perform well, which is good news. But it's also part of a longer term trend, which we can see. This chart here illustrates both historical budget assumptions and our actual sales tax collections. Sorry, didn't realize it didn't go forward. Over the past 6 fiscal years, what stands out here the most is the consistent strength as well as continued and steady growth, with actual collections increasing from 7 million in fiscal year 21 up to an estimated 10.3 for the end of this fiscal year. Rather than relying on conservative estimates that create unexpected capacity throughout the year, we've begun utilizing a more data-driven forecasting methodology with the goal of tightening our forecasted build budgets that more accurately reflect anticipated revenues, which ultimately allows us and the board, of course, to make more intentional funding decisions for the major funds in which sales taxes are collected. And so here on this chart, you'll see, like I mentioned, the prior collections and the original budget estimates. For fiscal year 26, we're looking at that original budget of 9.5 and the year-end projected of 10.3. And then for fiscal year 27, our prior forecasting methodology here is in the striped bar, estimated that we would see about 9.9. With the updated methodology, we're seeing closer to 10.5, which should be more in line with the growth in sales taxes that we've seen over the various years.
Question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the growth from projected of 2026 to 27, it still seems like 2% or so. You said earlier that it's around 8%.
So that would have been compared to 9.5 to the
Budget to budget.
from budget to year-end projected.
Yes. So there's a chance that 10.5 may actually come up higher in the actual sense.
Especially as we gather the information from the months where FIFA occurred.
Okay.
I believe we're expecting a payment this week from the state, so we'll see how that comes in.
Of course, any FIFA bonus, we're not going to use just one time.
So kind of just summarizing those changes made to the financial policy. Historically, what we've done is taken the current year's recurring projections and then apply the consumer price index, which just measures inflation, to give us our next year budget. That's been simple and consistent methodology, but it's only relied on the one single economic indicator. That doesn't fully explain all the changes in the revenues. So back in April, council approved a change to our financial management policy, and that's going to allow us to use a new methodology that incorporates several economic indicators shown to influence our sales tax collections. So including both inflation, home sales activity, unemployment, building activity, gas prices, and of course, seasonal spending trends, along with a assumed baseline revenue of approximately 4.6 million. We combine that to get our next year budget. So rather than just one indicator, we now have several that are going to be directly influential to the sales tax collections here in Sugar Land.
I have a question. What are the resources for the economic indicators that we're using for like inflation, home sales? What are those resources?
That's going to be like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Fed, a lot of those just official federal or state sites that provide those.
Follow up?
Yeah.
And so they're regional based, or are they, what is their basis?
They are regional based.
If possible, some of them we only receive on the federal level, but the closer we can get on the regional based on the sales tax, we do.
Good, thank you.
Many of them are very close. I think even the gas prices is the Texas weekly retail average. So we try to get them as fine tuned as we can.
District 1 versus District 3.
I don't know if we can get it that close. So before I jump into the proposed budget, I just want to pause if there's any questions on 26 or those policy changes.
I do have one question. I'm sorry to ask all these questions.
Go.
But we talked about the fund balance. Can you talk a little bit about where we're still looking at the fund balance, where we're keeping it, and then how we changed it a few years ago? Are we still keeping the fund balance low and using the fund balance rather than saving on it?
You'll see here for both the fiscal year 27 budget and the 5-year forecast that we are continuing to utilize that. And start to kind of let it off here towards year 5 back to a positive change. So with that, I'll jump into 27. For 27, we're estimating 11.2 million in revenue. 10.5 of that's going to come from no sales tax, and roughly 700,000 from interest income. The corporation does have its fund balance setting in a variety of investment vehicles. As of the end of May, roughly 49% of that fund balance is in investment pools and 34% in agencies, currently earning about 3.68%. So those 11.2 million in revenues, along with some of that existing fund balance, is going to support 17.8 million in proposed expenditures for fiscal year 27. Before we kind of dive into those individual categories, I just kind of wanted to highlight the overview of those proposed expenditures and how they're allocated. And the largest portion of the budget is approximately 7.8 million, and that's going to support the corporation's operating programs and strategic initiatives. This includes economic development operations, incentives, sponsorships, and maintaining that reserve process. The next largest one is going to be your transfers out, totaling 4.6 million, which reimburses the general fund for corporation support services and funds debt service and international marketing activities in their respective funds. And the next up is 2.5 million in capital projects supporting infrastructure, along with 2.5 million in debt service on the corporation's outstanding sales tax revenue. So then on the following slides, we'll kind of break that down a little more in detail. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the 2.9, is that the one which for Imperial land purchase?
So the Imperial land purchase is going to be in the transfers out to the debt service fund.
Okay.
And we'll cover that in a little more detail on the subsequent slides. The first up on the operating incentive side for the 7.8 million, we do have the program budget of 900,000. That's going to cover, again, those recurring kind of operating expenses such as marketing, business relations. Fiscal year 27 does include 260,000 in one-time funding that is proposed to go towards the modernization and update of our zoning code. Sponsorships for 300,000 is that final FIFA payment. And then incentives of 5.6 million includes various existing performance-based incentive agreements. Some of those larger ones are like plug and play, the office readiness program, and the revitalization of Town Square. There is also an additional, roughly 600,000 in capacity that we have budgeted. And then lastly, we do have reserved for opportunities at 1 million again. Just leaves opportunity for us to come back to the board with funding resolutions and address things in the middle of the year without having to do the budget amendment with you guys and then back to council. So moving on to the outstanding debt. So this piece is specifically sales tax revenue bonds that are directly obligations of the corporation. We do have two outstanding. Series 2014 was one of the three issues that originally funded construction of Smart Financial. And then Series 2021 was a refunding of a 2013 that originally funded the design for Smart Financial. As of this year, we'll have 26 million in principal on 2014 and just about 3.9 on Series 2021. Next up, the capital improvement program for fiscal year 27, we have 2.54 million. 1.5 is going towards major street rehabilitation. So that's going to be reconstruction of the panel replacement on major roadways, areas like Greatwood Parkway, Industrial and Commerce Green Boulevards. Then we have 950,000. That's for replacement of LED of the roadway lighting fixtures. This proposes to replace the existing high pressure sodium fixtures with LED, which are proven to be safer and brighter and more efficient, of course. We're expecting that to not only improve safety on the roadways, not only for residents, but our first responders, but also to produce maintenance and energy efficiency on the city's general fund side. And then last, I just kind of wanted to highlight, this is a change from last year. Typically, we build in about 300,000 annually for major roadway improvements. Those are things like the landscaping and the right-of-way improvements. We're putting a pause on that for fiscal year 27, and we're shifting that 300,000 into FY 28's capacity. Believe Henry met with you guys early last month, and they still have roughly about 590 prior to that project being approved. So we're letting them kind of utilize those funds before we start to continue to transfer. And then next up, those transfers. The first one is general fund for 1.6. That includes salary reimbursements of about 1.2, which funds about 50% of the 17 economic development FTEs that go to support type A activities. Then that cost allocation of just under $500,000 is for all of those other employees in the general fund that also support the SLDC, like accounting, budget, so on and so forth. Next up is the debt service, which you asked about, for 2.9 million. So this is going to be 2.28 million for the 50% of the SLD's portion of the COs issued for Imperial. And there is 650,000 that was moved over last year from the hotel occupancy tax fund that originally funded the parking lot and plaza over at Smart Financial. And then
Yeah, sure.
How much, what was the total amount of debt issued for the Smart Financial Parking and Plaza approximately?
Just the parking in plaza?
Yeah, well, I guess let's go that 75 million, I think, for the construction of Smart, and then for the parking and plaza. I was curious how much that extra was.
see, I don't think I have that particular piece here, but I could certainly get you that information.
One question I had is, since we are paying for the Smart Financial Center and investment from this fund, does the revenue from that also comes to SLDC, or that goes to the other fund, the revenue or the rental which we get from the ambassador group?
So there is a separate debt issuance that is paid by the lease payments, but of course we do get sales tax on things like
So
tickets.
there's two separate debt. One is this and
Correct. All right, and so then the last item on here is 50,000, and we do an annual contribution over to the airport, and that's to help them support their international marketing efforts. And so the previous slide kind of summarized those debt service transfers. These charts simply just provide kind of that long-term outlook on the payment schedules. No proposed changes here, just the same payments that you've seen and approved in the past. The CO, so for Imperial here, you can see we're structured more so with on the left, a level principal payment in the blue, which pays down the principal quicker and ultimately saves interest over the life of the loan. And then the COs that financed the Smart Financial Parking and Plaza on the right, you can see are more level debt service around 650,000, likely issued that way. Just based on hotel occupancy tax capacity at the time, or to provide budget stability in the forecasting.
No, I just got your answer from Jessica. The total for the plaza, the marquee and the parking was 9 million. Some of it was hot cash, SLDC cash, and then we had COs issued as well.
Thank you.
So kind of wrapping up 27, just with a little comparison to the 26 projections. We're looking to go into FY 27 with roughly 22.5 million beginning fund balance. And that's going to be about a 5.3 drawdown with the anticipated revenue and expenses in 26. Our revenues are roughly level. That's with sales tax increasing and interest income coming down again, just with continuing to draw that fund balance down. We do have 1.3 in additional expenditures planned for 27. All in all, we're looking to draw the fund balance down by about another 6.6 million in FY 27, but that still does leave us with roughly 14.3 over that policy requirement.
I have a little bit of a crazy question. I'm looking at some of these expenses or uses of funds. Are we maximizing those uses of funds and the allowable uses to offset any ad valorem tax uses of funds? In other words, are there anything in there that we could be using more of these funds for that we're not using the general fund for?
I think we look at that, some of the Some of the additions and projects that you see in the CIP here are part of that, and they also help when you're looking at, future, other CIP projects that would otherwise be funded probably through an upcoming GO bond election, which would be paid by property taxes. Things like, the lighting, that's gonna save the general fund money, which means Chalet needs less property tax revenue in the long term. So certainly, we do look for those opportunities.
Justin, what was the reason or combination of reasons that our fund balance got so high? I mean, the whole concept is if we're collecting the taxes, we need to deploy them to benefit our residents and taxpayers. What got it this way?
One of the reasons is a couple of years ago, we had a reimbursement come through from the IRD. It was to the tune of about 12 million, 13 million between the two corporations. So that kind of gave us a little boost. In addition, of course, to just the overperformance and sales tax, probably many years of budgeting a reserve for opportunities, but maybe wasn't fully utilized. So each year that cash is kind of falling down to the bottom line and building it over time.
Yeah, and just to add to that, like from when it comes to track 2 and the central unit, which we'll be bringing forward here soon, there's a lot of work in the making, been working with Public Works, police, lots of different airport, lots of departments. And we anticipate additional funding being needed for us to be able to get that truly shovel ready so that we can have companies come and locate there. So that has been intentional as well, really focusing on what is the future of track 2 and what are we don't know necessarily what the master developers need is going to be versus ours, but there's been some strategy there of making sure that we're prepared to utilize those funds if we need to for track 2.
Yes, Ryan.
We are consuming roughly 6 million from the fund balance in a year. So that means the remaining would be consumed in 2.5 years. While some of our longer term debts are actually lasting till 2035. So do you foresee that in 3 years down the line, we run into a situation that we don't have enough money for incentives? Because most of them, the remaining money might go for debt services.
And I'll go to the next slide. It may kind of help answer that question. So looking at the 5-year forecast from this year, we're drawing down 6.6 as we go to the forecast, as revenues grow and as we reduce some of the expenditures, we start to see us kind of level back out. I think this goes to FY31. By 32, we're positive change in fund balance. So we start rebuilding that unless we make additional investments. Another thing to consider is in these expenditures is unallocated capacity that's in the incentive line. So that allows them to go and pursue and bring you additional opportunities, as well as the reserve for opportunity as well, which could be tweaked just depending on what capacity is needed. But we're still, by the end of the forecast, almost 8 million over the policy requirement.
So what I meant is like when you go from 17 to 12, that means that 5 million reduction possibly will have to come from incentive line. Because rest of your debt service and others are fixed for long term.
There's a couple of areas, right? It just depends on what future investments, and capital projects, the reserve for opportunities. There's things that are not, I guess, committed to in the 5-year that we could adjust depending on where the priorities are, where the funding's needed.
So is there a floor, if we're talking about track 2, and that's a big wild card, is there a floor for the fund balance below which you will not go?
Floor is 1.7.
The policy is that we keep that 25 reserve.
Yeah, but
Maybe for the additional stuff.
yeah, but if we're keeping our eye on possible expenditures for track 2, then we don't know how much. So the 25% may not be enough. Is there, have you all discussed a number? Say, well, we're not going to go below 8 million in the fund balance because we might need 2 or 3 right up front to kickstart track 2. Is there a number? Have you come up with a number?
Have a number yet, but with costs continuing to rise for construction and everything else, I mean, we're gonna watch that, but until we find someone, a master developer that's gonna come and work with us to figure it out, it's gonna be a give and take of, do we pay for the roads or do they pay for the roads and we do something else? Like maybe they take down the land at a you know, on a smaller scale. There's lots of different ways that we can do that. So I think it's really our focus is really getting this before y'all, getting your consensus on the future of that site. And then figuring out, finding someone to help us develop it and get it shovel ready. And then we will have some performers and a lot more information once there's been a significant amount of work, a significant amount of money that has already gone into that site. And so we'll have a better idea.
All right, well, if I don't have any questions on the 5-year, I'll just open it up for any remaining general questions.
Hey, one more, Stuart, if I could, one more question on that last slide here. I know we talked about track 2. Do we have any plans to spend any more money from this account on Imperial? I know we're currently spending, what is it, $3 million a year, roughly, to cover the debt servicing?
It's roughly 2.3 for this year, yes, sir.
Yeah, so do we have long-term visions or plans on if we plan to spend more from this? Kind of an open-ended question within the group here.
Well, the money that we're spending on Imperial is actually for the debt service is being reimbursed by the general fund, right?
The 4A and the 4B are funding the debt service for the first of the lane.
I'm
Right. The sales taxes.
So sorry.
On top of that, future expenditures related to Imperial.
This is Jessica Hubble. I don't know if you can see me, sir. There's no specific number out there at this time. That obviously would be brought to the table when we get a master developer selected on how that's gonna play out. But I think the assumption is there will need to be more investment from the city, whether it's infrastructure or other things, but anything of that sort would come before y'all for approval and future discussions. So between the SLDC and the SL4B and HOT, that's how we utilize those 3 funding sources to kind of see what can accommodate what versus eligibility and kind of move things around. But any of those decisions can be brought back before you have shown the capacity as you see today.
Rob, did you get all your questions?
I don't think we have an answer today, is what I'm hearing. It sounds like we'll have to have future conversations when we're a little bit mature in the development of the project.
And we're not adopting a budget today anyway. When do we have to adopt our budget?
We will be coming back to you on September 1st for the approval. But before then, we're going to file it with the rest of the budget on the 21st, and then the council will see it on August 20th at our 3rd house.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you, Justin. Okay, Rob?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a director's report, I'm sorry.
Not quite.
7, director's report, Elizabeth Hupp.
Right, so a lot of y'all got to go to help us celebrate PG Golf. They had their exciting news of the milestone of recycling and selling of 1 billion golf balls in Sugar Land, which is a fantastic and huge milestone. Very proud of them. They've been a great community partner and business that we've worked with over time. So thank y'all for attending. I hope y'all had a good time. And then for business retention and appreciation, and also all things FIFA, right? So we've had the Edo Fan Fest, we've had our watch parties, we've had the match tickets. We've had an incredible response from our businesses, site selectors. We've had some journalists as well. All of our games were completely full. We got all of the tickets handled. Our businesses have been very thankful and appreciative. We've had some very wonderful conversations with them and really deepened a lot of those relationships. So here's just a few pictures and snapshots. This is our artwork that is out at the Edo Fan Festival that has been in a very premier location and has a lot of great pictures and stuff that people have been taking pictures with and hopefully posting and tagging us as well. And then, so part of the FIFA Greater Houston Partnership, what they will do is called a familiarization tour. They invited their own group of site selectors to come and did it over a 3-day event. And like they went to a game, but we also got to participate in that event with them. And we had exclusive interactions, more in-depth interactions than some of the other cities because we were able to give them the Fan Fest activation tickets. And so Colby got to go to an event, I went to an event, Alba went to some, but we've had some really great discussions. talked a lot about very different things about the state of Texas and just state of the industry and where they're seeing. They did say the office projects are picking back up slowly, but that it's really still a very highly competitive and the flight to quality. So if you don't have a Class A mixed use development, office tenants are not moving to those buildings. So it was very insightful, a great opportunity that we got to participate in. And then as we bring this forward every month, we've had 35 business retention expansion visits, 58 of our business recruitment, which is developers, brokers, site selectors. We have received 125 RFPs and we've been able to respond to 6 of them. Again, just continuing to show the importance of redevelopment. We have interest. There's a lot of opportunity, but we don't have the right real estate in Sugar Land to land all the projects. And then as you all were there, we had a great merch store opening on June 4th. The ribbon cutting, we got some exceptional news in the media outlets. It was a great event. It's to hear from them that during June 13th, we had the highest FIFA merchandise sales in the country. They said that we had the best June sales in the country. They've got 40 stores across the US. So I would say I'd like to that our marketing efforts in support of them have been a big draw, and the fact that you can come to Town Square easily, park for free if the parking garages. But it's been a great opportunity to be able to have that. And we would not have had this and we would not be receiving any sales tax revenue if we had not done the host city supporter agreement. We would not be able to have this. So again, another benefit of that project. We had a soccer clinic as well. We had 2 soccer legends that came. We had over 50 attendees. It was with Imperial Soccer and GFI Academy. It went really well over 2 days. We had a little bit of some rain delays, but overall the kids had a great time. And it was a really exciting event. The Constellation Field was a great partner. They were able to kind of pivot and do some of the activations in the batting cages instead of on the field, but the kids had a great time. Really special opportunity. And then on Imperial, so the redevelopment team is leading a community-informed mural project at Imperial as part of our interim activation efforts to bring new life to the site while the master developer negotiations are underway. On Monday, the mural artist, Tyler Kay, was on site meeting with key stakeholders, including the Heritage Foundation, representatives from the Hill and Mayfield Park, and they are gathering stories for inspiration to help shape the final design. Yesterday, the city officially launched the project, opened a community input survey where residents can share their ideas, stories, and photos. So please help us share the link to that survey so we can get as much feedback as possible. The next opportunity to get involved will be on August 6th at the city's back to school event, Party at the Plaza, where Tyler and the redevelopment team will host an interactive artist activation, including a children's design activity, and will help inspire elements of the mural. And then on September 3rd, we'll invite the community back for a paint by the numbers event, giving residents the opportunity to help bring the mural to life before its anticipated completion later that month. And then we'd love for each of you to participate in that mural process and help spread the word within your networks, whether it's sharing the community survey or joining us for the community paint day. Every contribution will help create a mural that truly reflects Sugar Land.
Can I add to that, please?
Then
not allowed to.
not allowed to drink. All right.
Sorry about that. Email Natalie, but you always get tired of me hearing me say this, but follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for updates. Had a lot of great activations. We've reached 30 million followers on Instagram, so a lot of great things.
Thank you. Rob, would you like to do the honors?
Let's adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.